Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with the 6th update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows. We are halfway through the year, which is really exciting, so I'm going to go through the shades that I've had in for the last month, as well as going through a bit of an overview of where I am with my goals and also some stats now when we are at that mid-year point in this project. But first, if you are new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family, but otherwise let's just jump into the products. So I have two palettes that's been in here for 2 months, and the first one is the Masquerade mini palette from Juvia's place. The shade I had in here is Dalia, which is a blue shade, and I'm going to insert a picture of where I was last time. At the last update I had used this shade 6 times, and this right here is where I am today. So I have hit pan on this shade, which is really exciting. It actually didn't take very long after the last update, or it didn't take very many uses. I only used it another 4 times, meaning a total of 10 uses before hitting pan on it. I have hit pan on other Juvia's place eyeshadows, and these kind of small pans from them are quite easy to hit pan on in my opinion. So I'm really happy to have a pan in this eyeshadow and in this palette as a whole, because I hadn't used this palette that much before rolling that shade into the project. I'm really excited to be able to roll this palette out, and I have been working on a lot of Juvia's place palettes, so if I can get something else and they're rolled in, that would be great. But I do love their shadows, so I don't mind working on them either. The second palette that has been in here for 2 months is my Sultry palette, and the shade we had in here was Teak. And this is just a really nice bronzy shade, and again I will have the picture up where I was last month. And as you can see, this right here is where I am today. So I was able to hit pan on this shade as well. I really loved using this, but it didn't take me too long in the month to hit pan on it, so I haven't actually used it for a while now. But it is a beautiful bronzy shade, and I do really love this palette. And this was actually completely untouched as well when I rolled this shade in, so I've been happy to use it. And I have reached for a few of these shades in conjunction with this eyeshadow, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, I wouldn't mind getting another shade from this palette in this project again, because I feel like I still have some more I want to play with, and yeah, I just haven't reached for it enough. But I feel like it's something that I probably will try to gravitate towards more in the fall time. So the rest of the shades are all rolled in from last update, and the first palette that I'm going to talk about is the Douce palette from Juvia's place again, and the shade I had in was Crepes. I was actually working on Berry Mousse in this palette before rolling this shade in, but I rolled this in at the same point as rolling Berry Mousse out. And again, this is where I was last update, and this right here is where I am today. So no pan yet, but there is definitely a dip forming. I'll be using this tons in my transition. I have reached for this shade 14 times in the last month, and judging from it, I feel like I could potentially hit pan on it next update if I keep using it at a similar rate. But there is definitely a dip, but these are much deeper than the small pans from Juvia's place. They're harder to hit pan on, and this is also a matte, and their mattes are very tightly pressed. This one here was an exception. It was quite powdery, so I feel like this is going to take a bit longer, but I'm hoping that I will have it out by next update. I also forgot to mention the Sultry palette. I have used this 6 times in the last month, totaling of 15 uses before hitting pan. The next palette I have is the Lilac palette, which is actually the palette that I'm wearing mainly on my eyes today. And the shade that I was working on over the last month is Zoned Out, which is just this matte lavender shade. And this right here is where I am today. So again, you can see there is a slight dip in this eyeshadow, but it's not near pan yet. These mattes are quite hard to hit pan on. I have reached for this shade Iffy next to it a few times as well. I'm actually wearing that in conjunction with Zoned Out today, and that is much softer, and I feel like I have kind of a similar dip going in that shade, although I've used this way less. But I've really been loving using Zoned Out. Obviously it's not a shade that I can pair with absolutely everything, but I have actually loved using this all over my lid as a one shadow look and things like that. So when I do use it, I use quite a lot of it. And I have reached for the shade 8 times in the last month. I'm not sure I will be able to roll this out by next update, because it is quite a way to go before pan, but I'm hoping maybe in the next 2 months this will be able to roll out. Then the final eyeshadow that I have is the shade Weenie from Colourpop. This is one of their Supershock shadows. I rolled this in again last update, and the picture will be up where I was when I rolled it in. And this right here is where I am today. So I have it pan on it, as you can see, and with these eyeshadows I try to wear them down quite evenly, and of course you can see that there is a slight dip kind of in the middle, but I'm still really happy with wearing down the sides as well. I didn't really just dig a hole in the middle, so I'm really happy with this progress, and I will count it as a pan. So this will be another shade that I'm rolling out, and I did reach for this shadow 16 times over the last month. So that means I'm rolling out 3 eyeshadows, and I will pick out some replacements for them. But before we do that, I just want to go through some of the stats, where I am currently with my goal, my pan percentage, things like that. So when I started the project this year, in my introduction, I had 449 eyeshadows, and out of those eyeshadows, I had pan in 36 of them, meaning that I had a pan percentage of 8.02%. Currently I have increased my eyeshadows a bit. I did actually purchase quite a few more eyeshadow palettes, but I have also decluttered a few, and currently I'm standing at 471 eyeshadows. I will increase that later in the year, because I have an order coming in with more eyeshadows, so it will be going up. But yeah, 471 is where I am currently, and I do have pan in 56 eyeshadows, so my pans have gone up by 20. However, I have hit more pans than that so far, and it's just that I have decluttered some palettes with pans in them and things like that. So my pans have in my spreadsheet gone up by 20, so it's not at 56, which means that my pan percentage is currently at 11.89. So that is actually really good. I'm super happy with my pan percentage so far. At the end of 2018 I only had 5 pans, and the pan percentage was 1.79, so I have increased it a lot since then, and I'm really happy that although my collection has grown, so has my pan percentage. So if you remember in my introduction, my pan percentage goal will be 15% at the end of the year. And like I said, I have a few more eyeshadows coming in, so the numbers will of course increase. But as I said today, in order to hit my goal, I will have to hit another 15 pans of eyeshadows, which I feel like I will be able to do. But with those new eyeshadows, that will be a bit more. So maybe, I don't know, 18, 19 eyeshadows, depending on what I purchase the rest of the year and how much I declutter. But still, I think I should be able to hit that goal, but I will have to keep up my rate of hitting pan kind of similar to what I have done earlier in the year. So now let's go and randomize some new eyeshadows. I have 1 to 471 in my random number generator, and I will go and randomize. The first shade will be number 10. So number 10 comes from my first eyeshadow palette in my spreadsheet, which is my Anastasia Modern Renaissance, and the shade is Primavera. The second eyeshadow will be number 381. So number 381 actually comes from my pan palette, and I already have pan on that eyeshadow, so I'm going to re-roll. The second eyeshadow will be number 262. Sorry, I thought it locked, but it didn't. So number 262. So number 262 comes from my Juvia's Place Magic palette, which I have had in a lot this year. I already had 2 shades in this palette in early this year, but the shade is Yara. The last and final eyeshadow will be number 375. So number 375 comes from my I Heart Revolution Rose Gold mini palette, and I will go and pick out these 3 palettes and I will be right back. So I'm back, and I have all my eyeshadows right here that I'm going to be working on, and also I swatched everything out because I forgot to swatch as usual. So I'm going to go through the eyeshadows in the order that I picked them into the project, and the first eyeshadow came from my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, and the shade is Primavera, and it's just this gold shade right here. I have a little bit of use on it, but not too much. However, the pans in this palette isn't very deep. I already have 2 pans in this palette, and I believe both of them are actually from this project as well. So I'm happy to continue working on this palette. It is one that is getting quite old in my collection, so any use that I can get out of it is really good. I did swatch it out, and it does swatch really well still. It's the one here in the middle, so these are the 2 that are staying in from last month, and that is Primavera. So I think this is going to be a great shade to work on, especially now in summer, and it's going to be a good eyeshadow to wear on kind of like the makeup days, because it is just a beautiful kind of natural gold. And then the second shade came from my Magic Mini palette by Juvia again, And the shade that I picked is Yara right here. And I don't think I actually used this before. I have swatched it, but this has a lot of love. Both of these pans came from early this year in this project, and now I'm going to be working on this one. And also I am working on Nubia right here in a different project as well. So this is getting a lot of love this year, but I'm really happy about that because yeah, I haven't reached for this palette much previously. So that is going to be the second shade that I'm rolling in. And as you can see, that is the Yara swatched out on my hand. Then the final shade came from my Rose Gold mini palette from I Heart Revolution. And I didn't mention before which shade it was, but it was number 5, which is this one right here, counting from this side. So it is dark kind of reddish brown right there. I haven't used this much. I have 2 pans in this palette, again from this project, one from this year and one from last year. I do like it, but it's not my absolute favorite formula. I'm actually panning another one of these as my Pandas palette this year, which is the one that I rolled in a shade from that I already had pan on before. But I'm going to be excited to work on this shade, and I think it's beautiful. So that was the Postman, and I just got a parcel. But I'm going to be really excited to play with this shade. And I did swatch it out, and I feel like it goes really well with the color story. So hopefully it won't take too long to pan on. This formula is kind of hit and miss. Some shades are very, very crumbly and some are quite hard pressed, but we'll see. I haven't used the shade, as I said, so we'll see how it goes over the last month. And that is the whole color palette. I feel like this is quite similar to what I had last month. These are the 3 shades that I'm rolling out. So we're getting this kind of greenish turquoise shade rather than the blue, and then like this kind of gold replacing these 2. But otherwise I feel like it's quite similar, but I think it's really, really fun, especially for this time of year. So the first look that I have right here is quite a bold look. I went in with Just My Luck as all the green shades, and I really love how this turned out. Obviously I'm wearing the blue shade on my lid from the Masquerade palette, and yeah, this is just a very bold look, and I did kind of like a playing with makeup time. It's not something that I wore out, I just thought it was fun to play. So that is the first look. Then the second look right here is one where I played with the Weenie shade, which is the kind of rose gold shade from Colourpop, as well as the Zoned Out shade from Lilac a lot. I'm having those on as well as another Supershock shadow that I'm currently working on, which is called Fantasy, which is in the outer corner. So that is the second look. The third look right here kind of sums up a lot of the looks that I did over the last month. I'm wearing Crepes from the Douce palette in my crease and outer corner, and then I am wearing Weenie on my lids, and then I also paired it with kind of champagne color in my Panda palette, and I believe that's what I have on both in the corner as well on my kind of inner lower lash line. And yeah, it's just a super light kind of easy look that I did quite a lot. I did pair it with different lid colors. I used the Teak shade a lot with this look. I also used kind of other golds, things like that, but this is kind of a good base that I did a lot over the last month. The next look is very similar to that as well, but a bit bolder. I am wearing the same kind of crease shade. So I'm wearing the Crepes shade from the Douce palette, and then I have deepened it up a bit with a darker brown in the outer corner, and then I'm kind of blended out with a nice peach shade and blended it into the inner part of my crease that way as well. And then I topped it up with Weenie as well as a brighter gold used in the center of my lids. So that is this look, and I did also put a glitter on in my inner corners. I think that is the Diamond Dust Steel glitter, again in my inner corners. And I also paired it with orange liquid liner. It's actually one of my liquid lipsticks that I used to use as a liner. So that is the orange liner that you can see. So those were all the looks that I wanted to go through in this update, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know how you guys are doing with your projects, if you are doing any projects this year, and otherwise just let me know how your day is going, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys!